Welcome to the Code with Reza channel. My name is Reza and I'm here to teach you Python. Today I want to talk about labels and buttons in tkinter. Tkinter is a built-in Python library for creating graphical user interfaces. It provides a set of tools for creating and manipulating graphical elements such as buttons, labels, and text boxes, as well as for handling events such as mouse clicks and key presses. tkinter is a popular choice for creating simple GUI programs in Python and is included with most Python distributions. So let's start with creating the simplest app using tcare, tkinter. So we need to do two imports from tkinter import star from tkinter import ttk. Ttk is a package which is uh, more powerful, which we use this most of the time. So we need to create a root like this and root dot main loop. So this is the minimum that we need to have so that we see something on the screen. Let me run it. This is our application, our UI. Now let's add a label to it. So we'll come here, say label ttk from ttk. We will call it from ttk label root, and the text is hello from hell. This is the master of darkness. And we need to attach this label to our root with the pack method. So label dot pack. This code creates a new tkinter widget and then uses the pack layout manager to place the label on the GUI. The root.main loop is used to start the GUI event loop, which listens for user input and updates the GUI accordingly. So now let's run it. Look at here. This is our label. Hello from hell. This is the master of darkness. Scary, isn't it? So let's configure the label and add a new feature to it. When we code with TTK library, if we want to add something to that, we can come here and add another attribute. For example, we can say wrap length 150 so that we wrap the sentence. Let's have a look. It wrapped. Now it's in two line. Or we can do something else. We can configure the label. Instead of changing the definition, we can come here down and we can say label dot config and then the attribute and then the value. Instead of adding into the label, we can add it later using the config method. So it has the same effect. Look at here, the same effect. Now let's set the justify attribute to see how it works and what it means. If you look at the label now, it starts from exactly the beginning. We can move it to the center so that this first line comes to the center instead of starting from the left with the justify. So we say label, we configure the label. This time we say justify center. So if you look at that, it is centered now, a little bit from here and a little bit from here. Now let's change the color. So label the config Foreground blue. Run it. Look, the text is blue. Magic, isn't it? Wow, interesting. Now let's change the font. It's very useful to change the font. So we'll say config font career 18 and bold. Let's run it. Oh, it's much better now. If you look at that, everything is centered. Hello from is centered, darkness is centered, and everything is blue, and the font is bigger now. Now let's do something interesting. Let's add an image to the label. So for that, we need to configure a label again. So label.config. Before configuring the label, let's create the image. So how we create the image is from using the photo image class. So we say logo equals to photo image and the file for the image. Mine is the GIF, the name of the file, and this is the content of the file. This is a frog. It should be a famous or popular frog, but I don't know what the name is, so I'll just say frog. After we have the logo, then we configure the label and we say image equals to logo. Now let's run it. Look at here. So here our label shows an image. Now there was a message here, hello from hell. So we don't see it now. Let's move the image to the right of our sentence so that we can see both of them. So I will say label.config compound equals right. So look at here, it's on the right. On the left is our sentence, on the right is our image. So that's all for label. Let's move on and create a button. So we don't need the code here. We just need to keep the first root and the main loop. And here we can start to create our button. So button equals from ttk library, button class, root. We always, for every element in the ttk, we pass the parent element as the first parameter. For the label was also like this. For the button is also like this. So the first one is the root. So we are saying that what is the parent of this button? Where do we want to put this button? We want to put the button on the root. So root is the parent. So we put the root here and the text is click me. Now we need to put it on the root using the pack. When we say pack, pack is a layout manager which comes into play and puts this button on the root based on some algorithm that we will look at that later. So this code creates a new tkinter button widget with the text click me and then uses the pack layout manager to place the button on the GUI or GUI. Now let's add a callback to the button. So in here, I will come and define a function with the name callback. It can be any name that you want. And I will print clicked. And we come here and we will say button The config command is this callback. And be careful that we need only to pass the name of the callback. We shouldn't execute it. We shouldn't add the parentheses here. It's just the name of the callback. So let's run it. When I click on this button, we should see the click me here. Clicked. Click should be here. So as soon as I click the button, the command will be called and the clicked will be shown to us. Now let's disable the button. So I will come here. I will say we disable the state of the button using the state, not config. Here we are using the state directly. So the state we pass as disabled. This is how we make it disabled. Let's have a look. I cannot click on that anymore. Let's check if a button is disabled. So we made it disabled, but we can also check it. We can print button. Is it in state? It's a question. In state disabled. Run it and look at here. True. It is disabled. So it says true. Now let's enable it. So we'll come here and say button dot state. It's interesting. What do you think we should put it here? We should put enabled? No. We'll put not disabled. Let's have a look. I can click, and again you can see clicked here. So it is working again. And finally, let's add image to the button and to the left of the button. So again, we need to have the logo, photo image. The file is the GIF. And this is a large photo. So if I say button.config image is logo and put it on the left, there is a problem. Let's look at the problem. This is very big. This is the button here. Look at the button. And this is very, very big. This is the original dimension of the file. So we can make it smaller by saying subsample, not here, here, subsample, divide the x by 5 and the width by 5 and the length by 5. So it divides the x and y of the length and the width of the image to these two numbers. So it's 1/5. The result is 1/5 of the original image. Look at here. It's smaller now. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.